And welcome back, everyone, to the International Wildcard Invitational. My name is Julian Pay-2-Time Car. It's been a great day of games so far here on day 3 of the event. Let's have a check-in with the results after our last match. We did see that Hard Runner were able to keep the streak alive and take it Usurus Gaming. 4 games through so far. Supermassive, Cyclone Jokers, and INTZ all picking up wins. The Chiefs, unfortunately, falling, but they will be up playing next. I'll see what they can get done here against Lion Gaming. Joining with me here for the desk is actually Legacy's own jungler, Tim Carbon Wendell, and Jake Spawn Tiberi. So we're turning things up. Spawn, welcome back to the desk. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm actually doing pretty well. You know, it's a long day of League of Legends yesterday, but another long day today. And we've had some interesting results so far. I think the Saigon Jokers, team that a lot of people underestimated, mainly Fish, have proven that they are now a dominant force within this tournament, taking out the Chiefs and having a pretty good game.
And Tim, it's been great to have you here as well. How's your tournament going so far? How have you been enjoying the matches?
Yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of up and down games, a lot of upsets. The favourites that we thought coming into the tournament haven't been performing that well, and some that we thought that wouldn't do so well have been playing really well. So a lot of fun.
Yeah, certainly has been. There's been some pretty crazy games all across the board, but let's have a closer look at our matchup now as we'll get our 2 teams up on your screen. It will be, of course, the Chiefs from Oceania taking on the Latin American North champions, 5-time champions, I might add, Lion Gaming. The Chiefs, mixed results, only 1 win so far up against INTZ for the upset, but Lion, unfortunately, had a pretty similar disappointing results for the team so far.
Yeah, certainly, as OS fans, we expected big things out of the Chiefs. But look, they had a really good win against Brazil yesterday. They struggled a bit early this morning, but I'm really excited to see what they have in store for us.
I think the other thing to point out is that the Chiefs' schedule, as far as like what we thought would be relative strength, was pretty front-loaded, I think, with the top teams. A lot of people didn't really expect Hard Round to come into this tournament and do well, but if you did watch IWCA, you saw that they pretty much sent their team to IWCA through a couple of mismatched rosters there. And, Hard Random came out the other end. They looked very, very impressive. So we knew Kira was going to be good in the mid lane. Like, we know that their support player is an absolute beast. So this is a team that we expected to be up there. And then we thought that maybe like Brazil and Turkey, I think, are the 2 teams that we thought would be with them. Like Oceania and the Japanese squad somewhere around about the mark. And so far, Oceania has gone through every single team I've just named in that we thought would be top 4. And has not yet played the Latin American squads or the Japanese squad or something like that. So I think that it does get easier from here. Problem is the damage already done?
Hard to say. I mean, I think the win against Brazil definitely helps for the potential. We're going to have a little bit more look into the Chiefs as far as what they've been doing. We've talked a lot about what the team has done domestically and how we expect them to play. How is their level of play matched up? Because this tournament makes teams do pretty crazy things, we've noticed. And the Chiefs, they're sort of playing a mix between Chiefs League of Legends and Wildcard League of Legends.
I feel like they're trying really hard to fit in with everybody else, not necessarily doing what they did when they were back home. A few picks that we haven't seen them play before, and I assume that they're practicing them. But for me, we're halfway through the tournament, and I'd really just love to see them on some comfort champs. We've just gone through an entire season of the OPL, and I'd love to see them on the sort of champs that they played during that season.
Yeah, I certainly agree with kind of the sentiment there, because the big thing for me right now is that when I look at the Chiefs, I just think they weren't big Rise players, they weren't big, they played bully duo lanes. It's one thing about the Chiefs, everyone's macro cerebral team. Yeah, sure they are, but they also like to kick the crap out of you in the 2v2 down in the bottom lane. So that's something I want to see them go back to. I think Egypt will not see Alistair for the rest of the tournament. Swift will not see Lissandra, because it seems that if they have the 2 big go buttons, the Chiefs look okay, which is pretty similar to domestic success, I have to say. But there are other things that Swiffer can play. Get him on the Twist of Fate. Get him controlling something on Victor and making other 80 carries' lives miserable. Because right now he's playing a heck of a lot of Rise, and I'd personally never seen it out of him before. This is a big surprise to me.
I would love to see either EGM or Swiffer back on that initiation champion. They seem to do so much better when they have a character who can initiate on the enemy, but in a hard way. The soft CC champs, things like Thresh and Bard, I don't see that working very well for them.
Yeah, we saw what Alistar was able to do as far as work goes, and I agree. I think the go buttons do need to be in the right place here for the Chiefs. But we'll have a closer look at their opponents. In Lion Gaming, once again the 5-time champions there for Latin America North, a team that's has plenty of strong players looking around, but again have not really come up just yet in the tournament, much like Oceania's own.
Yeah, and the one thing you have to say about Lion Gaming as well is that they also ran into INTZ and Hard Random as a part of their first couple of games. So, loss over Isurus, a little bit disappointing for the team. I'm sure they would have loved to have beaten the Latin American South team, but they did pick up their win over the Japanese squad. And, their duo lane, I go back to it every single time because Seiya, Arce, that is where you should look for this team to be powerful. So, much like the Chiefs, I want to see them pick something that can win 2v2.
I think their bot lane, and like you said, you kind of look to Seiya for a performance out of this team, and their bot lane struggled certainly at the start, but I think in their last victory over Japan, Seiya played quite well, and for me, I'd really like to see them pick again, get something like the Kalista.
Yeah, I think we've seen a lot of strength as far as our champions go. Again, we're starting to get some metagame trends sort of emerge as well. Just, I guess, a little bit more on the Chiefs before we get ourselves into the draft. And Carbon, thankfully, will be joining us for a few extra comments there on the draft because this man, of course, knows what he's doing when it comes to playing League of Legends. So I've been told, at least.
A little bit.
How do you think the Chiefs have been doing internationally? Because domestically, of course, looking very strong. We felt when we knew where their strengths and weaknesses were. How have their performances matched up internationally? Because this is true of a lot of teams when they go overseas. Things do change. It is different to playing at home. We've even seen teams change their style. Cyclone Jokers maybe being the biggest example of that sort of change. How have we thought individually that the players and teams have done kind of moving over and playing in so many different regions in a foreign city, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think that they've done as well as they have in previous years, certainly. I think... that the top lane Swiper, I think, and Spooks are both struggling a little bit. But at the same time, it's not like EGM or Radiant or Swiffer have been doing that great either, to be honest. I really think that either EGM or Swiffer needs to get on an engaged champion, or one of those two needs to lead the way, and then the rest will fall in line. I think we've seen a lot of stuff like Spooks on the Nidalee, not doing very much at all, or the Nautilus with very few TP ganks.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's really fair to say that, and even the games that they have had, they're firing at different times, right? We're very rarely getting a game where, all 5 members fire at a very similar time, and that's what we're used to seeing domestically. If they're a very team, it sounds stupid, but, they're either all slumped together or they all come up. I mean, when they had their very... poor Super Week in Oceania against the likes of Dials, against the likes of Sin, no one on the team was really performing. You couldn't point one finger. Then when they start winning games, it's everyone elevating their play together, because that's kind of what Swiffer brought back to the team, in my opinion. So to see these guys firing one at a time is kind of random for the Chiefs, which is why I can't really track if it's something in the meta or whether it's just their understanding of the game right now. Because for Swiffer to have a good game, but Spooks to be very, very quiet is bizarre in the strangest way.
And I feel again, maybe just not all the lanes are firing at once. Swiper has had, I think, struggles in the lane phase against a lot of the top laners.
His game against INTZ was good, though.
Yeah,
one thing I will say is that,
he got massive.
Yeah, he got absolutely huge on the Poppy. Struggling in laning phase, I think, is fair about Swiper. He's never really been a lane-dominant top laner, but he's a very good team fighter. So, this has always been the conundrum for the Chief. We've got one of the best 2v2s down in the bottom lane, Raider and Aegium. We want to isolate it. That means that Swiper doesn't really get that much attention, because all of a sudden Spooks has to shadow the bottom lane and the mid lane, because that's where they get a lot of their job done. Swiper gets left out to dry for this team more often than not. And I know that right now in what is a top-heavy focus meta, that can punish a team very hard.
Absolutely, and especially if you're going to leave things up like the Echo that we saw, you can't give him a bad matchup and then also just leave him and expect him to do well on his own. I mean, either he needs to get a good matchup or they need to support him a little bit more.
What about the bottom lane then for the Chiefs? We look at Raider and Aegium all the time domestically. I know Aegium likes to joke that Raider's the safety net for his team in a lot of ways, and Aegium has had international and domestic success for himself as well. I feel 2v2, there are, of course, a lot of good teams and players on these teams. I feel they're maybe not stacking up as much as we've seen them before. Again, they've had good performances, maybe individually, but the lane doesn't feel like it's firing together as much.
I definitely agree. I think one of the big things is Raider on Immobile champions.
Yep.
Does not work at all, and especially not versus quality opposition like these guys. The game they won, he was on Kalista. He had a okay Lucian performance in lane, although he did lose to Ezreal with Tyr. So look, Kalista obviously is very high priority, but for both teams, I think. Sia obviously also had a very good performance on Japan. I feel like these two teams are very similar in a lot of regards, and I feel like they're both looking at each other thinking, yeah, this is the win we're going to get. You know?
I completely agree with that sentiment, because like even if you look at Sia versus Radiant, they've had really similar performances throughout this tournament. You know, sometimes they look like they're doing well, but at other times they're just mismatching in the 2v2s. One thing I will say is that it's a change of play style. Aegium and Radiant need to be aggressive. I actually don't think they know how to play passively, so they need to get a lane that goes forward. because otherwise Ejim gets frustrated. He tries to make plays elsewhere on the map. Radier is playing a lot of Sivra and like getting caught out of position. Like we saw against Supermassive on day number 1, and this was where I was really scared. Radier picks up side lane farm. It's something that we've always seen. When they don't get vision control, when they're not playing aggressively and securing that for him, if they're not pushing up mid lane, Naru, time and time again, just disappeared into Fog of War, and Radier couldn't go anywhere near farm because Alessandro would just blow him up if he did. I think that is something they really have to take an eye on, because not only does pressure spill into Swiffer's lane, if Swiffer doesn't get out of his lane and help the bottom lane be aggressive, because realistically, domestically, it's easier to 2v2 a lot of lanes because you're going to have some weaker teams. When you're at a tournament like this, you have to expect every 2v2 to try and achieve the exact same thing, which is that aggression. So Swiffer needs to get down there a little bit more often and help him out.
And he was down there in the win they managed to get against INTZ. Is it a champion thing? Is it a mentality thing? Because I feel like Spooks and Swiffer, you're right, can actually influence the map in a lot of different ways.
Teams figured it out really well. Double teleport with Lissandra is like meta breaking right now because it covers so many mistakes. And I think that the Chiefs had a look at it. It happened against them against Supermassive, and they were like, you know what? That's a pretty damn good tactic. Like, let's just replicate that. And then teams were like, yeah, you're not going to be able to do it more than once.
I mean, at the same time, you look at the last game they played, and we saw a great TF counter the double TP. And that was super impressive, and it isn't something that we've seen done in the tournament yet. And I definitely think it would be very good if we saw that a few more times, because I think the TF is a great counter to the double TP because you're forcing your lane opponent to take cleanse. And if he does, and if he absolutely wants the TP, then you can just card him. You can just gank him over and over and over again, like we saw. Like we saw with the TF Elise.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And the other thing is that Saigon Jokers, like they probably were watching a bit Bangkok Titans game because this is something that the Chiefs brought into the last IWC tournament. Like Swiffer is a huge TF player, historically one of the better ones in the IWC region, and it was permanently banned against him at Q because of the exact same reason. Maybe pulled it out a little bit too early before the best of 5 because in their 2 round robin games against Bangkok Titans was able to absolutely dominate with that exact combo. Spooks on the Elite, Twist of Fate in the mid lane for Swiffer. I think that that's something that they will look towards if they get an opportunity. However, like there are so many, like his champion pool has never been an issue. Victor, Twist of Fate, Lissandra, like there are all these things that he should be playing, but like Siva and Rise is really a strong combo internationally at the moment. I just don't feel like it's a Chiefs combo.
No, and I feel like it's not good for the tournament either because we've just seen so much hard engage do work time and time again. Let's touch on the last member of the Chiefs because we are, again, getting ourselves into game. Shouldn't be too far away from Champ Select, but we've talked a bit about Spooks and how he's played. Thankfully, we have a very good jungler on our desk to help us here. Carbon, we've seen actually a pretty interesting trend in the jungle meta so far. Yeah, sorry.
No worries, mate.
Pretty interesting jungle trend so far. We've seen kind of a host of farm junglers versus ganking junglers. Jinky has gone with more of the gank style junglers, lots of Elise, lots of Gragas, but of course, Nidalee, Kindred, Graves, these are our 3 big junglers that we expect to see internationally. Carbon, what have you thought about the jungle meta at this particular tournament? Because players seem to be falling into traps. One of them is Nidalee, don't pick her. The other one is that I farm too much on my farm junglers, or I don't gank it off my ganking junglers. So how have you found the jungling overall in the tournament so far? Then we can maybe chat a bit about Spooks.
Okay, well, I think the caliber of jungling has been very good from a select few players and pretty poor from some others. I think the meta is really interesting. We kind of started off with the 3 top picks, and that is Kindred, Nidalee, Graves. But what we found very, very quickly, after I think already halfway through day 2, majority of teams stopped picking Nidalee. And we saw a few just previously, and I can't say that I was impressed by any. In fact, Spooks lost on the Nidalee.
They've also lost on it too, right?
Det FM today lost on it.
Det FM also lost today on the Catch. Also lost today on the Nidalee. It's you need to know how to play it, and your team needs to know how to play around it. She's a very strong jungler, but I don't think you can get away with just picking her for the sake of it, farming for the first 15 minutes, doing nothing, and then trying to group.
Well, the thing that actually kind of confuses me about Nidalee is that the other 2 junglers that we speak about, Kindred and Graves, give some form of inherent tankiness. Graves because he gets like 300 free armor or MR or whatever, and has more...
Strong champ.
Yeah, good champ. And Kindred because of the ultimate. So, like, they're a very... Even though they are damage-dealing AD carry junglers, they give you some form of inherent tankiness for your team. They give you a front line. Nidalee doesn't. Nidalee gives you weird sustain. You can dip in and out of fights quite well with Nidalee. Like we were saying about Catch is that what he needed to recognize was that the other team didn't have sustain and he did. So they should have been looking for not all-in engages, but, you know, land the spear, poke around a little bit with your Rise, then disappear into Fog of War, into the Baron Pit, start healing people up, and then start the objective, and they have to come at you with half health. I just don't think people are patient enough right now to use Nidalee. Nidalee can be an all-in assassin, sure, and we see a lot of junglers even play it that way domestically, but more importantly, is used for these skirmish kind of jockeying for positions like sieging down turrets, and I don't think she's being utilized well at all in that regard.
And we're not seeing really any sieges at all in this current meta and in this tournament either. I think one big thing is that... what was I going to say? I've forgotten now.
Sieges.
Even
no sieges.
Like even Macau, who
Yeah,
picked
yeah.
up the Jinx, like they went towards a team fight composition with it. Like they didn't even go towards the sieges.
Yeah, so I can't. What I was going to say is I can't name the amount of times that I've seen Nidalee skirting around the edge of a team fight, full health, throwing spears, but refusing to jump in because they're so squishy. Team fight just ends, their team just dies, and they run away, and they're full health, half mana, like they've had no impact whatsoever. Yeah. And I think that's happened in 4 or 5 games now that I've seen Nidalee. Like quite frankly, I don't think they should be picking it, and I think we're seeing teams slowly move away from it, moving more towards the Graves and the Kindred. I think Graves is #1 priority easily, but the Kindred can still be very good. But then again, Kindred you can fall behind on very easily, and if you do fall behind, she's so weak. So look, I think Graves is absolutely #1 priority for everybody. I think Kindred is probably the second strongest, but I don't think it will work for every team. We've seen a Gragas so far, we've seen Elise, and we've seen Rek'Sai. Yeah. And Rek'Sai received a lot of criticism, but I have to say that I think Rek'Sai and Elise are still strong, and I think they're going to be very good in this tournament because they provide hard CC. They're relatively easy to play. Rek'Sai has global pressure to counter the double TP, and Elise has that huge early pressure and dive and ability to dive in the lane swap, which I think all the teams are lacking at the moment.
I think another important thing about Rek'Sai is one thing that I've been disappointed. I've been really impressed with the individual skill of these players, but vision control is something that these teams need to go away and take a very good hard look at because they're not controlling vision well at all. And I think that makes Rek'Sai, even though not like a tier 1 jungler internationally, have to jump up a tier list because people are just running through jungles blind and getting blown up by teams.
Just the sheer number of red smites is actually hilarious. Like, there's been so few Trackers Knives purchased in this tournament. I don't have the exact stat on me, but we were sort of joking about it in the break where it's like, the amount of junglers that just want to fight other people is astounding versus the ones that want to try and get that vision control.
I mean, even the Rek'Sai rushed Cinderhulk Red Smite. Like, no one wants to buy wards, it seems, which is a big change from what we're used to, and maybe that's a tournament-specific thing. I don't know, but we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, it honestly confuses me. Like, I get so disappointed when I just see, like, especially topside jungle. Like, late game becomes so important for you on the blue side to control topside jungle. There are so few. There is one entrance into Baron Pit that should be used, and that is through mid lane if you are on red side. And teams are just like running through, like top side of river, like through the actual over the back of the wall. We've seen weird use of Tahm Ken's ultis to get you in there because people are just like there are holes in people's vision that they're getting caught out on. That's why I also think Twisted Fate needs to be seen as higher priority because like there's just we can't see them hit the ult button, like light up.
I think there's a lot of potential for TF in this tournament. I think it's a really good wildcard pick. Like you said, a lot of these teams aren't getting vision. A lot of teams are in dangerous positions. They're just face checking. They're just running into the river if Dragon is spawning. Like they're not. Well, I'm sure they are thinking about it, but it doesn't seem like they're thinking that much about it. They're just brave enough to do it, and I think TF is really punishing.
And the other thing that I do want to point out is that something that both these teams do very well, both Giral and Swiper, is they're big tanky top laners. They're not really running split push. I think split push is something that we'll see like just completely phase out, unless you're Echo and you can go like Echo doesn't change his build whether he wants to split push or
Echo
team
does
fight.
both, right?
Yeah, he does both very well with Grasp of the Undying. I think that split push would just be something that we don't see because Maokai is seeing huge prevalence at the moment. I think Nautilus is still a pretty good pickup right now. So it will be interesting to see if that is something that continues.
Well, we are into the draft now. Thank you for your patience. Did have a slight delay there, but now into Champ Select here for Chiefs versus Lion Gaming. Last game the Chiefs will play today. We'll see if they can pick up a win and keep the dream alive. Lion Gaming, of course, pretty much on the same page, so a very important game for these two teams as we have a look at the bans. Gragas Azir banned out for the Chiefs, and Echo the first ban there for Lion, followed by the Rise, interestingly enough. Not too surprising, though.
Curious that they would ban Azir on blue side. I think maybe that they have some sort of plan for the mid lane, and they don't want to lane into Azir. It might be the TF that we were talking about, but the Trundle ban comes through.
I like it. Take him away. Trundle's one of those champions that's very frustrating. No one really likes to play against him. We'll see what Lion want to take for their final ban, though. It is Alistar, see you, Egypt's champion.
I mean, I don't think he's getting it for the rest of the tournament. They looked like a way better team with that Ali, so, you know, I don't think Ali's ever going to get through. Curious that they banned both Gragas and Trundle. I guess if they take away the Maokai here, there's not really much left for Lion to pick other than perhaps the Nautilus. I personally would argue that Maokai is better, and that's a good trade for the Chiefs, but Sivir is also up, so we'll have to see what they do.
Good junglers up as well, so perhaps thinking about that, but no. Carbon's right, they do take the Maokai. As you said, makes sense as far as straightforward picks go.
Yeah, I mean, the other major tanks are out. LG might have known this already, and they may be okay with just playing Nord into Maokai. It's a relatively even matchup, so they won't be too fussed about that. We did see the Nidalee hover. We did half about it. I would very much prefer not to see the Nidalee. They should absolutely take Graves away here.
You play with a carry top laner on your team. There's been a little bit of international play of Fizz with kind of the Echo build right now. I mean, we saw Smeb pull it out of the Ku Tigers. Fizz always had a historically good matchup versus Theak's a huge Evelyn player.
Okay. Evelyn is rubbish.
Yeah.
To put it nicely. To put it nicely, as a jungle main, I mean, I don't want to see it, quite frankly. The good thing is that it applies map-wide pressure, right? She doesn't actually have to do anything. I mean, she can use that Nidalee playstyle of where you don't do anything for 15 minutes, but it's going to be effective. Okay,
I like this
just
a
troll
lot
hover.
Here. Yep.
Another troll hover.
Similar Sandra are the picks here. Very good stuff here from LG. Jungle's all open though, like you mentioned. Both Nidalee, Kindred, and Graves, not Azir. Graves are all open here. Of course, Spooks and Swiffer would go back to the new Vlad hover because they've been doing it all tournament. Good to see the boys are still having fun, but I think I definitely expect Graves plus one other here.
Spooks is looking very serious on that cam though. Not sure how much fun they're having.
This is as far as ahead of they thought in the draft. Hover these two and then let Coach figure it out.
Yeah. Look, Sivir extremely strong together. I think these are two great picks from Lion Gaming, and Chiefs are going to be hard pressed. They have to take the Graves away. They cannot afford to give LG the Graves as well.
Whoa. Unless they do
Kindred Thresh, okay, so bit of pick potential, bit of scaling with Kindred. Last time we saw Spooks play Kindred, he wasn't kicking up any marks. He wasn't really getting any ganks off. They do get the Callista though, which is a big ticket for them.
Yeah, I like it. Callista, Kindred. I kind of go back to comfort in some ways. I think Graves was definitely an option here, and now Theak, of course, has the option to take it away if he wants it. But clearly a plan here with the Kindred Callista combination. And don't forget, old mate Ejim could be on the Maokai if they want to swap it up, because that is something they play.
That is true. He does flex it. I wouldn't suggest it, but he does do it. So, you know, we'll see what he does.
Has to be very specific lanes, from what I've heard, and it also generally is with that lady that is being hovered right now in the top lane. Because what they like to do is they like to be able to take something that can be a top laner and support also with the Maokai, so that if they do get something like a Thresh lane, something like a Bard lane that Maokai just can't deal with, Braum is also very good against Maokai, then they can put it back the other way. But that will definitely be a top lane Maokai now.
Yep, Braum and Poppy locked in there for Lion Gaming. That was kind of the obvious top laner open, other than maybe Nautilus that didn't get taken away. So a strong pick there for the top side of LG. We'll see what Chiefs want to do to round out this draft. They still have a mid laner and looks like a support to finish things off here.
I mean, this comp is starting to look extremely scary on the side of Lion Gaming.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to suggest that they take the Braum Graves, but obviously they don't in no rush to take their jungle anymore because they've seen the Kindred. But if they do finish this with the Graves and they have double AD with Braum, and then they also have Liz Poppy, I mean, that is a CC nightmare for the Chiefs. Callista, very susceptible to getting CC'd. I mean, she does have mobility, but she is short range. Same with Kindred. Yes, she has the ult, but she's so short range that they're just going to get steamrolled, I think, by the other comp if they get going.
And something that you have to take a look at in Graves is that, yeah, sure, he has a lot of burst damage, but he also has a lot of follow-up damage as well. He's consistent damage, really, really nice, especially with a Zeal item. So I think that even though, like Kindred Ultimate might save them a little bit, there is still the potential for Graves as well as like Sivir to go off in these team fights.
Certainly is, but the Chiefs have finished their draft, and Prophet Carven strikes again. Comfort picks ahoy here for the Chiefs. Twisted Fate and Thresh will round out their comp. So a very comfy bottom lane for Radier and Ejim and Swiffer. He did see that tee off on the other side and he said, you know what, that was quite good. I think I'll give it a go.
Yeah, and you know, if Ejim's Ali God, he's like sometimes a god on Thresh and sometimes really not.
Thresh demigod.
I mean, he was once upon a time, and then he gave it all away. Stop playing the green champ. He only plays the blue ones now. But no, look, TF, yes, extremely strong pick. He's going to run it with a TP as well, so it looks like he'll be able to keep with the list, keep up with the list.
Come on, man. Sejuani
okay,
instead.
big pick.
With Graves open, by the way.
With Graves open, yeah. So, look, I disagree.
And
I
Elise
don't
open?
think it's a good idea at all. They
Too
have
late now.
AoE wombo combo, I guess.
Have you played it lately?
I have played it. I played it with the AP item.
Yeah.
And once she finishes the AP item, her clear speed is good. So if she can get there, if she can get to 6 with a completed runic echoes, she will be in a relatively strong spot. However, like she's up against Kindred, and if I was Spooks, or if any jungler was Spooks, really, Kindred should be invading the Sejuani at every opportunity. He should be contesting Wraiths. He should be contesting Golems, Wolves, Gromp, the Crab. Anywhere this pig goes, Kindred should be as well.
I don't know if I've ever seen a Lamb Hunter pig, but that may be what we're in for in this particular game. I agree, though. I think definitely onus on Spooks to apply some pressure. We've seen mixed performances from everyone on the Chiefs so far in the tournament. I think Spooks he's shown us domestically that he can be a strong, aggressive jungler. He's got a strong, aggressive jungle champ into a defensive jungle champ. Spooks' time to shine is probably this early game.
Yeah, it certainly should be. Although Lion Gaming, might just be taunting Oceania because Bangkok Titans played the Sejuani against us as well. And
It's a bit obscure.
Destroyed it.
Bit obscure, but it's possible, I suppose. Anything's possible.
But yeah, the thing that I like about their composition is the layered CC. And I think that Liss has to be the person going in there because if Liss dives in there, gets the first CC, Sejuani CC is like really good as follow-up and will keep Lissandra alive. That means that Lissandra can all the time ult Raider until he's picked up that QSS, then move over into someone like Twisted Fate. So I think that Lion Gaming squad here has good layers and follow-up CC. Problem is that they need to be together as a 5-man unit to make that happen. So if this Kindred ever gets ahead and starts hunting people out, it's going to be a very interesting game.
I'm really excited to see this Poppy Kindred interaction again. I mean, I don't know if everybody saw it yesterday, but that was so hype. Poppy ults you just as the Kindred ult is about to proc the heal. Your team doesn't get the heal, and only his team does. And then as you land, they just kill you. I can totally see a situation in which Sejuani comes in, throws the ult, Kindred immediately ults herself, and then they just wait. They just wait, and then Poppy bang, and they finish them off.
Well, we are ourselves onto the rift. Thank you very much, Carbon, for joining us there for the draft and for the pregame. Lovely to have you on. I'm sure we'll see you later in the week. Well, let's get ourselves into game here. The Chiefs going to be taking to the rift versus Lion Gaming. 5-man invade, finally, as the Chiefs are going to move themselves out and see what they can get done here. We're finally seeing a proactive level 1 spawn. It's happening.
Yeah, they're finally getting deep vision. What the heck? We've seen so many blind lane swaps in this tournament. So the Chiefs finally will look to see if they can buck that trend pastry time, which is a good news story.
And you can see that vision already put out. No blind lane swap today. As LG actually do move in and get the counter vision. Not quite as deep as the Chiefs, but should be okay as far as early surveillance goes. And I feel like this is sort of an interesting game as far as picks go. We've sort of culminated the standard meta and the tournament meta together. We've got a bit of a mix here of meta champions and engaged champions. I've sort of all put them in one place here. So if it did go for cleanse, by the way, which he did swap over to. So
as soon as the Sejuani was locked in, he was like, well,
nope.
There goes my dreams of ever just throwing wild cards at waves and teleporting somewhere else.
We'll have to definitely fight a little harder for his movement, but Twisted Fate, a very strong pick. And Swiffer, most importantly, a very strong Twisted Fate player, as the champion is very well known for back home. We'll see how he does here on the international stage as Chiefs and LG really quite possibly fighting for their tournament lives. Really doing to start picking up some wins on either side as we just see the early jungling come out. There has been a lane swap though, but it is actually matched by the Chiefs here. And they got to lane pretty late.
Yeah, they certainly did. So they will be down a little bit, but they are also a bully lane. So something that they are very confident in is the Kindred Kalista Thresh combo. They have a cute name for it. You should ask them on Twitter. I'm not going to call it out here, but we'll see whether they're able to utilize that and make it work.
Did they get a campaign? No, not yet. Looking to take down some creeps, and look how aggressive they want to play here. Swiffer in the meantime back in mid lane, just wild carding it up, trying to keep back out from under Lissandra Q range. And there we are, level 2. Here we go. Straight in for the damage. Soulmark's good. The flay's great. Ejim lining up the hook. Does land it. The render's still there though. RSA takes a huge amount of damage.
Yeah, certainly did, and not overcommitting. That's the important thing. Chunk them out, wait for the second round of the trade, and then go all in then because you already got the exhaust out. Very nicely played out of Ejim and Radiant, and some aggression out of Spooks early, it looks like.
Just pressuring mid, trying to see if he can get some damage down. Swiffer lining up the gold card, but Yuri's out of it. Spooks, though, will move his way in. Decent damage there as he gets a wild card poke in. Gold card no good, but Spooks just, again, being a little bit more proactive.
And this is what Carbon was kind of hinting at. If you are the Kindred right now, you can pop into mid whenever you want because they took teleport and didn't really respect it. Spooks will also get the first camp of the game. This is something that I think is really confusing about Sejuani. Carbon spoke about how Spooks was kind of forced off marks relatively easily. I don't think Thiak's going to be able to do that at all on the Sejuani. And that means that the pick becomes even more dangerous. Turret dive is going to come in on the
it doesn't go for it because they are going for that dive. Was spotted though. Thiak actually a little low. Gonna have to go back to that tier 2, and Spooks, I think maybe looking for a jungler, will actually move down. Oh, my mistake. Did actually get the mark. Silly mini-map trolling me.
Yeah, so it sticks around for a little bit. Yeah.
There.
That's all right. Happens to the best of us, mate. Another red smite picked up for Spooks.
This one's standard.
One jungle I will give it to is Kindred, as you were about to say. If you get snowballed on Graves, I can understand it, but I still think Graves performs better with actual vision control. Because you ever face checker Graves, he blows you up. So I think we saw that really demonstrated well last game by Hard Random.
Definitely going off there as Spooks going to clear this jungle out. Thiak, though, unimpeded for the early jungle start. We've heard from Carbon expecting to really hammer this jungle early and get invading. But not happened yet here for Spooks. So not a bad time with the Skirmisher Saber ready as we have a look in bottom lane. Swiper doing that poppy. Droll up 10 CS right now. But Spooks
in a lot
down.
of trouble.
Yeah, red buff Kindred.
Red buff Kindred. Poppy's overextended.
Oh, Swiper started. It's a flash in, but the dash is very nice. Slows in, though, Droll. Probably can't get out of this. It's first blood. Going to the Maokai.
Yeah, and once again, with Kindred, if you have red buff, you need to be willing to burn your flash early. Arce now in a little bit of trouble. Gets hooked up.
Hook lands in. Good there from Ejim as Raid is looking for it. Rend is good. And the damage is down. You can see starting to bully again. 10 CS lead for Raid here also.
Yeah, so fantastic play there for Raid here. The equalizing gank in the bottom lane for Swiper to be able to get him first blood and equalize that CS. Kindred has great mobility, but needs to be able to put her circle down on top of the champion. So flash on top of the champion, you know, get the circle down, be able to hop around a little bit more. So don't be stingy with your summoner spell, because if you use it up front, it gives you more mobility in the long run, even to disengage if a counter gank is there. So it's just a little bit more worthwhile. Good to see that Spooks is still willing to be aggressive and going back, picks up the components of a Devourer. Yep,
flashed in, but we will see Devourer first here for Kindred. Standard enchantment at this point, as Thiak level 5 now on the Sejuani, actually farming up nicely. But of course, Kindred's been pressuring those lanes, so you can understand the discrepancy there. But we heard it again from Carbon. Once you get the Runic Echoes, I know you love your offbeat junglers spawn.
Yeah, no, I play a lot of Sejuani at the moment. That's why I asked him about it. I'm a huge fan of Max W, Runic Echoes. Think that you fly through the jungle, and Sejuani is one of those champions that actually has a mid lane trough as a jungler, but has great CC and then does great late game damage once you start picking up some armor items as well. Momentum's great on her, so, you know, Dead Man Plate, pretty good item. And also, you know, just the Spectre's Cow does wonders throughout the mid game. So I don't think she's great. I do agree that she's prone to invades, especially from Graves and Kindred, but definitely not a horrible jungler right now. It's no Evelyn.
No. Thiak not taking one of his signature picks, though. There's a dive actually coming top. Here's Swiffer as well. In with the gold card straight in onto Arce. There's the pick. The hook lands in as well. But he's going to come back to Lantern out, and that's a kill for Ejim.
Yeah, that's ambitious. They burn flash and heal in a lane that they're already using. And we said that Swiffer, not enough to standardly lose the map. You have to get into your side lanes and help them out. On their Twist of Fate, going to be able to do that all the more often. They pick up a Tier 1 turret in standard lanes at only 7 minutes in. Chiefs look like they are much more comfortable.
This is much more crisp play from the Chiefs. They will take the turret down, though. Ejim and Raider will stay to take it, and they'll push through.
I think they'll stay topside as well. Honestly, this is something that they used to do against Bangkok Titans a lot, who were also a greedy laning team. They would just keep going up there with this Twist of Fate. Turrets really don't mean that all that much to him. Ejim can tank that up whenever he wants to, and they can just continue to push through. Put even more pressure on this duo lane, where Saya is 30 CS down.
Yeah, huge CS discrepancy there. And Swiper once again getting aggressive here into the bottom lane of Poppy. Dash is good, but Droll eats the damage there. Barmis into Maokai. Starting to really put the hurt in. Swiper, again, just one gank to get him going. And it feels like he can take control of these lanes.
So that's the right way to play it, right? Give him the gank, get him rolling, and then go somewhere else. Because you need to actually give him some love first. I speak about it a lot on Vici Gaming, so go watch one of those VODs if you want the whole rant. But they are swapping down into this bottom lane. They're going to continue to try and snowball macro. One thing I did forget about is they have a Kindred, so as soon as that Devourer is picked up, they probably want to be on Dragon side of the map. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that that becomes a priority.
Saya holding this wave top. top. No, that's okay. Just a melee.
Yeah, no, he's absolutely fine. There's way too many casters there.
Well, that'll push in as Ejim does get the ward down, and we have made that swap into the bottom lane. Ejim actually trying for a kill here. Swiper lines it up. Hook is not good because Dural dashes away. Ejim just combos his way through. Diak level 6 now down this area as well, but Swiffer even making his way down on TF with a Sheen looking to make another play.
Yeah, 100%, 20% cooldown reduction already picked up. Bristle wants to make an impact here, but Diak needs to respect.
Oh, hook onto the Sejuani, just a bit of damage on that soul-marked auto.
I think that's a little bit more than a bit of damage. And Siva now has caught up about 10 CS for a freeze, but they're going to lose a turret for it, and I do not think this is worth at all. There's not even a deep teleport play for Yuri to make, and they just have to give it up.
No teleport, of course, for the AD carry, so absolutely can't make it down. Chiefs will take themselves another turret, and this is much more like the play we're used to seeing from them.
Yeah, 100%. I think that there was a potential there where there was a window where Swiffer probably couldn't have joined, but, you know, nothing for Lissandra to teleport to. As you mentioned, Saya, he was just freezing out top. Now he's finally started to push it, but Swiper probably just going to answer that with a teleport. Actually, he's just going to boot it up there. He's gone for tier 2s early. I love tier 2 pick up boots on Maokai. Just gives him so much within his kit, and they are going to take away a Kindred Mark as well as a Dragon for themselves.
This is close to Kindred. So much neutral power and good synergy between the Rand and the ulti as well. It will be Radier that collects credit for the Dragon, but Dragon 1 will go to the Chiefs. They got themselves 2 kills and 2 turrets after a blisteringly fast start here in this game. Only 10 minutes in, and they're 2,000 gold
But
up.
look how decisive they are. Now into mid lane. Let's shove that one up. Go grab the Rift Herald on top side of the map. Continue to pressure this Sejuani, who still is not rolling, even though it has a great CS total. Chiefs have not played like this all tournament long. Even their victory over INTZ was much more brute force-ish.
Diak may be in trouble here, actually. Spook's looking for a potential kill. Good Q over the wall. But you can see how much damage the Kindred does just with that red smite.
Yeah, completely agree. Not even a completed item yet. And Thiak's not going towards Runic Echo, so now I don't like the pickup at all.
Ooh.
It's going to be a Cinderhulk. He just feels like the team's too far behind, but that means he's not going to be able to farm at the right pace.
Hard to keep up with Kindred as it is. A swiper books it over to the Raptor camp with a bit of help from Ejim. Spook so continuing to dash up. He's found someone. They do complete the recall. It was the Arc that he had caught, but can't quite get it just yet. Probably has a recall to get in soonish. Devourer should be online relatively shortly. But the Lich Plane's close up for Swiffer. Spook's actually
you're in trouble.
Getting aggressed on here. Exhausted. Ulted. Does pop the Lance Spite in time, but he's probably dead here. There's no help coming. Poppy ults up. And Spooks does go down to us.
So there's the interaction that Carbon told us about, you know, the Poppy knock up outside into the Kindred ultimate means you don't get the heal at all, not able to dash back towards it. I do think there was a play they could have made there. Swiper had teleport, there was a Lantern out there, Twisted Fate had ultimate as well, but instead they just let their jungler die. Probably a safer call overall.
Does have Devourer finished as well, so unfortunately won't count for the first Dragon, but will now start collecting stacks in addition to all the delicious gold he gets when he, presumably, Spooks is going to stay aggressive in this one. Radier also getting that Blade of the Ruin King first. Not going to go for Hurricane first today.
Nah, he's always been a Bork first builder. Even when Hurricane was really standard, when Sneaky brought it into the meta, Radier was still a Bork first, so it's not something that I'm really surprised about. As another gank here.
Yep, Diak looking for it. It's got the ulti. Plenty of lockdown here for the Maokai, but he's quite tanky. Geraldo and Diak probably have more than enough CC for this one. Good flash dash, but it doesn't quite stun him. W, though, should keep him locked in. Swiper still getting it. Dash flash there with a twisted advance is almost enough. And Spooks is here, but he's got no ulti. He's going to try and turn things around. Ulti up from Sejuani's not enough damage, and Spooks is going to take one out. Diak will die, and Swiper is still alive. Teleports in, and Gerald's finally going to get it. But Poppy pays the price as Yuri, he makes his way in. Spooks could get traded back here, but a good dash over the wall. Dodges out the Q. Spooks looking to make huge plays today.
Yeah, it certainly is, and all of a sudden, Twisted Fate ultimate into the mid lane means that they're going to be able to pressure that one out even further. Unfortunately, this lineup out of Latin America.
Got one.
What a hook.
Oh, Arce does dash away. Very good play by Braum. But the chunk damage is there. That's 3 turrets down now. The Chiefs rocketing ahead in gold.
12 minutes, standard lanes, 3 turrets down. Nearly unheard of pastry time. They're 4,000 gold up. Honestly, they've got completed items at 12 minutes into the game. They are so strong right now and should be able to push the tempo as quick as they want.
And by the look of this game, it will be quite quick. Sunfire done. Lichbane done. Blade of the Ruin King done. That is Swiper, Swiffer, and Radier all ready to go. And now Swiftness boots up for the Kindred with that Devourer. 4 stacks and plenty more to come.
And double longsword. I think it was actually Carbon and I that were talking about it. And I was like, if you have completed jungle item and 2 longswords at 10 minutes with Red Smite, I'm just forfeiting the game. Carbon's like, yeah, I would have paused it. Like that would have been game over. That was last game, of course, with the Graves. This one, 13 minutes. I guess it's not 10 minutes, but it's still pretty bad if you are online gaming right now. Good news is that they do still have a great team fighting comp. One thing I want to go back to is, you know, they were never probably expecting to win early game. They weren't expecting to lose this hard. But they have a Sejuani and they have a really nice layered CC team fighting comp. And if you get one person, you delete so much of the gold advantage away that the Chiefs have built up, especially if it is someone like the Kindred.
Well, Spooks already has 1 death, but Rift Herald is going to be the attempt now. Chiefs should be able to comfortably take this one. Then a good one in the back. Let Lion Gaming know where a few members are. Diak actually taking the blue buff, I believe. I guess Yuri probably doesn't need it too much. And Radier is going to move in, help this one out. Buff, though, does go over to Spooks. No, it is Radier. That's why they pulled him over. Now he's going top lane, going to apply the buff to that particular wave.
See how much pressure he can get. Once again, Twisted Fate has got his ultimate available because he's sitting on 20% cooldown reduction. Sheen changes really helped Twisted Fate, by the way. I think that it was one of those overlooked things, how much more beneficial it is. Sheen was first item was always great because of how it interacts with stacked deck.
Well, this is cute. Going to try a gank here. Ejim, does he put the ward down? He face checks. That's not good news. 3 members in the brush. Oh, Fate's call. Now they're going to go back in. Actually, Ejim wants it. 3-man play flashes out, and here's Swiffer with the gold card onto Arcee. Theacto is going to go down to Radier, and now the hook's going to land in. That'll be another kill for Ejim.
And then all of a sudden they have the buffed up minions on the top side of the map. They have Kalista as well as a Twisted Fate who has Lich Bane. Oh.
They're going in. They want the dive. Yuri's the target. He's going to get locked up. Radier able to get another kill for himself. The Chiefs on a rampage.
Radier, get back in range of the minions, mate. There they are. All right, cool. They're going to continue to buff up. That's 3 members dead still. Chiefs will look to push through as far as they can, at least reset this wave. Might even look for the turret.
Swiffer gold cards the turret. Doesn't look for a target, but say Arcee is playing very far back. This inhibitor turret, though, melts. 15.5 minutes in, the base is broken now, Spawn.
Yeah, and this isn't a middle inhibitor that won't give them anything. This is pretty much free dragons for the next 10 to 15 minutes just because the Chiefs can revisit whenever they want. Swiffer wanted that lantern. Samuel took it instead.
Spook says no, but the Chiefs do get out safely. They'll break the top side of the map and take that inhib down. Dragon up, so everything's prepped and ready here. The Chiefs, 8,000 gold ahead, 16 minutes in.
Rusty has a saying.
Yes.
You do you, right? The Chiefs have been trying so hard to like participate in what is the IWC meta, like change up their style a little bit. I feel like Jishu's just like, guys, just do you. Like, let's stop trying to get a little bit too cute. They go back to a composition that they've run for 2 years pretty much, with the exception of Kindred. And it's come up absolutely massive.
Certainly looking good so far, but this is a nice little move from Lion Gaming. They'll sneak in a dragon.
But they need to make sure that they get out cleanly here because the Chiefs are on their way and they have the ultimate still out of Twisted Fate.
More to say is busy top lane, so...
Got the inside track on mid.
They're going to keep pushing. There's a tier 2 there to take. Remember, only 5 turrets down. We usually look at 6 for being all outer spots, all tier 2s. Sad news for Lion Gaming is that they lost their inhibitor turret. So still plenty of good, easy, in air quotes, turrets to take. And Theark has to leave. Spooks will absolutely 1v1 him.
Yep. At this stage of the game, there's not really much chance for the Sejuani to even go equal in a trade. As you can see, the top lane has now been left unattended and will just naturally push into the base. Jiral's not going to clear it quick enough. Yuri's going to burn way too much mana if he doesn't have a blue buff, so it is probably Saya that has to do it, but it's not where the AD carry wants to be. Instead, they're going to look for a teleport play, it looks like.
Here's Spooks looking in. Good poke on to Saya, actually.
Teleport play.
Radier wants it. TP in from Yuri, though, looking for the flank. Spooks, though, is just chunking them out, and they see them all now. Radier actually locked up. He's going to go down. But Swiper's going to lock somebody up. Oh, he just claps the ulti, and now Spooks is still chasing people. He wants them. And LG just don't want to fight him. Spooks is more than happy to take it to them, but Radier's just dead.
Yeah, Radier's dead, but look at the base. Like, they got a kill, and that's all they're going to be able to get because the base is being pushed in. Spooks is still going to come down here and try and pressure out this turret. If they trade a turret for a kill at this stage of the map, definitely worthwhile for the Chiefs still.
Ooh.
In fact, they nearly get a base turret.
Super minion is close, but Saya should be able to stop this.
And the Chiefs just walk past the tier 2 in bottom lane. They pick it up. They've got 2 AD carries, and they've got a Twisted Fate. Like, honestly, ballsy call for Yuri to go in like that. Really respect the heads-up play out of the mid laner, and he gets the man that he was looking for, but patient had died long before that play came out.
Certainly should have, but Chiefs will reset a bit. They get a tower out of the deal, like you mentioned, so not too bad, all things considered. Abyssal up for Swiffer and a Hurricane up now for Radius, so 2 items under these big carries. And Spook's actually working on that more of Malmortia, so he's not far off his next big shop as well. See Ejim there on the left. Big grin on his face right now.
And that's smart out of Spooks, because he has to be able to live through Yuri's lockdown CC as well as the Arc, and they're going to both be doing magic damage. So pretty much as long as he eats the ultimates and is able to get his ult down at the same time, Radius should be safe. I think that's going to be the last time we don't see the Callista standing next to the Kindred whenever a play comes out, because Spooks would have been able to save his life there. But a much different Chiefs lineup that we're seeing in this game.
Just, again, very crisp, really playing their lanes well.
Aggressive, you know?
Aggressive but smart. Like, we saw aggressive versus INTZ, and that was almost reckless aggression. But they just managed to keep hammering them until they won the game. This is much more calculated aggression that we have seen from the team
I actually agree with that. This kind of looks like the perfect game that INTZ nearly had. I mean, they gave up a turret in a lane swap, which I'm still going to call a perfect game because there's not really much that you can do about that. But they were taking kills and then taking turrets. It's very similar to how the Chiefs are playing right now against Lion Gaming.
Well, if Tower goes down, who's going to get it? It will be Radiant that nabs it again. And the Chiefs will be back on for a push here, likely in this mid lane. Going to knock down that tier 2 and fell that entire ring of turrets as well. Sayer is still busy here in the top side.
He's the only one that can deal with it, honestly. So I don't blame them for the lane assignments, just because everyone else has to burn way too much mana trying to get rid of them. But that means the Chiefs get another free turret for themselves and continue to push forward.
Maybe more is the worry here, as these powered up minions are really strong, and the wave clear is busy with the supers, which again, you kind of have to do at this point. Boomerang Blade is going to tear them down. So that wave is going to get stopped. The Chiefs, not a whole lot of space to work with, but don't need too much more. Super's still pushing in that top lane. Chiefs should be able to play between mid and bot very easily here. In fact, Arce might just be dead. He is.
Did not respect any of the damage that is going to come out of a 3-item Twisted Fate at this stage.
Flash in, they want Yuri, they've locked him up, but a good ult there from Lysandra is going to keep her alive. Diak now in there with the ulti, but Swiffer's going to cleanse out. Gold card is good. Lamb's Despite though does keep Radiant alive. The Chiefs do need to kite around. Swiper dies to the turret as Sayer picks up credit for the kill, and see a Swiffer out there with the Poppy ulti. Lion Gaming defend for now.
Yeah, they certainly do. And a lot burnt out of the Chiefs there, but still a 2-for-1 trade as they look to continue to push forward into this base.
Look at Swiffer again. Draws the gold card. Look to threat. Wants to go to Yuri once more. Hook lands in there from Ejim, and they've gone for it. But it looks like it's backfired. Lamps bite down this time.
They're all dead.
But Radius dead. Spook's bleeding low. I'm not sure they're going to be able to get out of this one. Flash in from Arce is going to tag Spook. That'll be another killer. Shiral picks it up. And Ejim may be lucky to get away. Player cam looking a little different.
Yeah, over-aggression there out of the Chiefs. They should have backed away. The inhibitor was being pressured already. Super creeps were trapped between the base, and that kind of cuts off the creep flow, so it would have been taken organically. Instead, they make the flash gold card play. It does not work out in their favor at all. Gonna have to go back to the drawing board. You see, they go back, they buy so many big items. You think they just don't make that play when you haven't shopped in that much time.
Yep, I like it. The Swiffer sort of bait there. Pick the gold card. You can hit the turret if you want. If someone gets silly, you can hit them, but that was just a flash forward and too much aggression, and Sayer's gonna break mid as a result. Oh no. Twisted Fate's in, gold card's good. Great wild cards from Swiffer. And he should be able to chase him down. But the Arc is here, needs one more card. The wild cards are enough.
Oh.
And now the stun in. Instant gold card, into hook, into play. Here's Radier. And that's another kill.
And that's Baron as well, because they do have teleport on Swiper, so they'll just be able to move over, drop the ward, teleport the Maokai in. So in the end, heads up play out of the Chiefs mid laner. Has a little bit of a whiffer moment, but then definitely comes up with a Swiffer moment afterwards.
Certainly does, and there's the Baron going down. Callista Kindred, far too much damage. Baron will fall. The Chiefs hold onto their massive gold lead, and that top inhibitor is looking very vulnerable.
Yeah, it certainly is. They do have the teleport play one more time to come out of Yuri, however, although Ejim did not recognize him yet.
You know, blind hook would have been pretty sick there, but hard to do. Push, though, is coming, of course. Yuri gets away, but all of Lion Gaming, are up. They're going to have to try and defend this 5-man, but Baroned up Chiefs looking tricky to try and take down.
Yeah, and I don't think that the Chiefs made the error at the right stage of the game. It was only 20 minutes in, so Lion Gaming couldn't capitalize as much as they would have liked. But their capitalization potential is there. And I think that the Chiefs have seen that now and will do a much better job of respecting Poppy, Sejuani, and the Lysandra CC, because it's still a good team composition put together. And you see that even with Baron, that's what they do. They back away. They're a little bit too low. They don't want to push it.
Dragons
probably have Zhonya's, so yep. No, actually doesn't.
No, just grabs a blue pot actually and runs back. Dragons up. I guess the Chiefs are sticking to the plan. Play around the objectives. Play the map. You've got a Kindred. You can play the bot side as well if you want to. Plenty of bases open for you. And the top lane looks to be pushing by itself, so they'll make the conservative play this time around. And we'll see what they want to do next on this map. Lion Gaming just need to hold on. So continue to get that farm. 2 items done for Geralt and 2 items for Seiya is a good start. But the zombies not being there for Yuri is problematic.
Yeah, it just means that team fights are really hard. Yuri probably has to ult himself now because there's so much damage on the Chiefs lineup. That is Spook sated, so his damage just spikes out of control right now.
Theok, Raptor Sense pop, but doesn't quite see the wards that are down. Again, playing back into their base. They have to be careful here. So if we're pushing up bottom lane, though, Chiefs will stick mid. And this will be 2-lane pressure.
This is hard, though, because there are some wards. You look at the one right there on your screen, bottom right-hand corner, that can catch the 3-man unit out. So Swiffer bottom, Swiper top means that there is a window here where they can look to hard engage. It's one of those do or die plays, and they don't pull the trigger on it.
Might be the one you have to make. We've got a bit of a window left still, but Spooks is just going to see Seiya. Cannot wave clear like that. Far too far forward. Here's Swiper. He's actually ignoring the jungler.
Yep. Jungler wants absolutely nothing to do with him, to be frank. In fact, sends the top laner back over there. You made this mess.
You clean it up. Not coming this time.
Oh my goodness, Twisted Fate sounds awesome.
It is the play on the Swiffer. He certainly does. Swiffer's going to flash earlier. The Chiefs now going to rampage forward. They do take out the top inhib. Swiffer still with ulti. Swiper does need to get out of this situation. But the rest of the Chiefs are here in mid lane. Seiya has to stay to wave clear. Swiffer breaks bottom turret,
Yeah,
though.
he gets a turret on one wave. He's just got so much AP as well as the Baron buff. So able to continue to pressure that one up. And now it will be a second inhibitor that they're looking to break. In fact, the whole team rotates over this time.
Very clean here from Swiffer. Gold card once again. This one's actually for champions. And I guess a bit of extra lift band damage. Swipe is just up in their faces right now. Seiya, don't stand there. You'll lead a twisted advance. Swiffer kind of has to do, like, it's hard because you have to be there to wave clear. But Swipe is just like ready for the W.
Yeah, exactly right. So he's just zoning them completely. Yep. They have to be behind the inhibitor. And therefore, these Chiefs members can just get free hits.
Uh-oh, Swiper tied up. Damage is good. Oh, see ya. Takes the lantern out. That was close. Almost got stunned before he could grab it. Does get chunked, but top wave still pushing. Swiffer now mid lane.
Yeah, so they're just utilizing this Twisted Fate to roam around the map. Look how much damage he does to turrets. They're looking for the hard engage one more time. But the base is in complete disarray.
Yeah, Lich Bane, Double Dragon, Twisted Fate's pretty good on the old structures. And the Chiefs just happy to keep playing around the map. The Arc does dodge out with the Arctic Assault flash in. That's onto Spooks. They're going to try and take the Kindred out. The Lantern's there. The Hex Trigger's not enough. And now Swiper's going to get stunned up. He will flash out of the way. But Geralt's trying to take Radier out of the way. Going to kite around it though. Swiffer has made his way in. Geralt going to get kited to death by Kalista and Radier. Going to start to make a big play. Ejim finds one. It's Yuri there with the hook. And they will move in. Double play is good, but the Zonies is there for the list as well. Radier needs to make it over the wall. And there's the double kill out for Kalista.
And I just feel like when will teams learn? Do not give Radier Kalista. It's his best champion at the moment. He's having a relatively poor tournament, but a fantastic game. They funneled so much gold into Seiya because of how many creeps he was cleaning up, but realistically, that's still a 5-2-4.
Ejim actually gets the hook on to Seiya. This maybe isn't a fight LG can win. Radier going to try and go massive here, but he is getting stunned up. Swiffer going to keep doing what he can here, but the Rens are good and there's just not enough damage.
Yeah, it certainly isn't. So he's just going to dance around a little bit more. Probably needs to get out of the base now, Radier.
He'll walk out though. Does actually just walk away slowly. Couldn't quite get the big triple, but double lifesteal Kalista. Awfully hard to get if you can't kill her. And again, LG just too far behind in gold right now.
And that's all it is, right? They're actually executing quite okay in these team fights. They're just a little bit too far behind. One more time, they called out Spooks. They blow him up. He's gone for a QSS this time. Like the pick up there, Samuel, because you were getting destroyed in these team fights. And, you know, Yuri, you have to really respect the guy. It's very easy that if you're a mid laner in this game, like, pretty much nothing he did was wrong. It was just the top lane went a little bit awry, as did the bottom. But he's continued to find good engages.
Oh, Theok could be in trouble though. Oh, Spooks doesn't see him. Now he will. Hello. Auto attacks in. Spooks wants it. He's getting aggressive. Doesn't take the blue though. It actually goes over to Yuri.
Yeah.
Successful donation.
Also had to burn the QSS as well off the Ring of Frost to make sure that he could get out successfully. Oh, it was actually the ultimate from Yuri. So that's a good trade. Ultimate down now. We'll see whether the Chiefs are able to capitalize. Swiper's trying to walk super creeps into the base. He's like a tree herder at the moment.
Yep.
Like, come on.
In you go. Nice one gauntlet done as well for Swiper, so he's massive now with the 3 tank items. That's the Sivir ulti. Agents may be caught. Never caught. Fate's call. Here's Swiper. Oh, they found Jarrell. They see him with the ulti from TF. Swiffer going to lock it down, but he actually gets out of the way. Now the rest of the team are going to try and move around, but LG is split up now. Radier pushing forward, and Swiffer does get out.
And Swiper is now behind the whole team.
And
The Maokai is huge.
Finds Yuri. Hook lands. No, it doesn't. Zonius is good. But they're still there. Knockback there from the Maokai is good there. And now Jarrell's getting chased down by Radier. Poppy does get 2 out, but Spook's able to chase it down. That should be a second kill for the Chiefs, and is 15 to 10. They're going to look to close this out.
Yeah, they certainly are. 28-minute victory for the Chiefs, although the last team fight.
Trying to make it happen. Diark straight in the mix, but Spook's kiting around the ulti. He's going to be safe for now. Spears are good. Radier rips them out for another kill. And the Chiefs, they'll take down the Nexus. They stay alive in the International Wildcard Invitational.
Yeah, they certainly do. They will improve their record slightly. Still not the tournament that they wanted. But a relatively good performance there for the Chiefs.
Certainly is. Looking good there overall. And again, this is the League of Legends we expected to see from them, sort of coming out at that point. Unfortunately for them, it just wasn't quite there at the start of the tournament, but it's good to see them picking up on the back end.
Yeah, the actually bright news right there for the Chiefs is the fact that, you know, it's so easy to lose a little bit of faith, to drop the ball in a game like this against Lion Gaming, who are showing that they're a pretty good opponent, but they go back to comfort. They're able to get what they want out of the team comp and then execute really well. Hopefully that is the rebuilding block. You're probably going to need 4 or 5, like 5 wins probably to get through to the next stage right now. And the Chiefs still not out of the woods yet. They need to keep fighting here and see if they can pull a rabbit out of a hat.
Yeah, maybe a couple actually, because I think they still need to pick up, pretty much need to win out from this point and then cross their fingers, I think is currently the situation there for the Chiefs. But a very successful game. And again, all the components we sort of expected. Twisted Fate, a pick we expected to be big, comes up massive there. Radier gets Callista. There's a reason he doesn't get it a lot domestically and didn't get it on day one, is because it's just such a good champion for him.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, if you have a look at the Chiefs right now, they've lost against Hard Random, Supermassive, and the Saigon Jokers.
Yep.
I believe are their losses.
Yes, with a win over INTZ.
With a win over INTZ and now Lion Gaming. So when you have a look at it, they are going to be able to go up against Isurus. That's a team that they would be fairly confident against, although Isurus are showing that they're starting to pull up now and have a good tournament for themselves. And Detonation Focus Me, an old rival there. So that's what they'll close out. So it would be 4-3 if they're able to pick up their remaining 2 games. And that will be pretty close to good enough to getting them out, depending on the rest of the standing. So there is still hope there. Unfortunately now for Lion Gaming, they dropped to 1-4. Best they can do is 3-4, and that's probably not going to get you out of there. They're a region, the LAN region, that continues to grow, and I'm excited to see how they play, especially Saya. He had a poor performance this game, but he's an AD carry that I always keep my eye on, Arce as well. So these are players that, you know, they're going to continue to get better.
And that's the thing. This tournament, you know, there's so much to play for. It's a big opportunity for all these teams and players. Yeah, even if your tournament maybe isn't where you want it to be, and for some of these teams, they're still battling back. Some teams, of course, doing a whole lot better, but you still want to play. You still want to show your best for your region and for your teams and your fans. Lion Gaming, certainly not done in the tournament, even though it might be tricky, if not impossible, to make playoffs at this point.
Yeah, exactly right. So, you know, Lion Gaming, I haven't done the math, but I think it is pretty much impossible.
Don't ask me about math.
Like, Hard Random,
you don't want me at all on that.
Hard Random have lost 1 game, Supermassive have lost a game, so, you know, those 2 are like pretty much penciled in. Saigon Jokers are up there as well, and then INTZ or whoever pulls out the rest of that group, because I guess Isurus are pretty close now as well if they're able to get some things together. So the middle of the group is still absolutely there for the taking, and the Chiefs just have to stay hungry for it. Lion Gaming, unfortunately, not their tournament this time around, but maybe next time they'll be able to have a little bit better showing, because they seem to be Latin America all the time. They seem to have a really rough day one. Like, they are reverse Oceania 100%. Their day ones are like, if they didn't play each other like the LAS and LAN regions, like, they were looking very, very shaky. I think it's actually a nerves thing, so we'll see if they're able to overcome that in future tournaments.
I think, yep, on the other side of the Chiefs, obviously an excellent game for them, looking very strong, but for me, I don't even want to talk about necessarily the picks or the comp they picked, even though it did look very Chiefs-esque and they played it very well. I just think execution-wise, that was a very crisp-looking game. Easily the best game I've seen for them all tournament, actually.
Yeah, I agree. I think that game and the INTZ game actually had some parallels that you can draw, and this time around they weren't as overly aggressive, and they were able to translate it to objectives afterwards. So that's what impressed me, you know. Go for a dive on top turret. Don't chase for the second kill. Go back, clean up the turret for yourself, you know. Big gold advantage. Go for it in the bottom lane as well. execute on these plays and continue to snowball gold around the map. And they, as a 4-man unit, top to bottom to mid lane, back to bottom, transitioning this beautifully, and then they pull the trigger on the top lane, deep push. I think that the Chiefs played the macro side of that game very, very well, but they also got ahead in the 2v2, which we said was going to be very important. So I agree with you. Good game for the Chiefs there. What I do want to point out, however, is still some silly errors.
Yes.
Still a little bit too forward. Still a flash out of Swiffer underneath turret. Depending on how they treat these errors, they can either be good things because Swiffer will laugh it off, but Spooks is someone that will get a little bit upset about being caught
And
up.
Spooks, let's talk about Spooks a bit. He had an absolutely amazing game there on the Kindred. He's played it a number of times domestically. He's pulled it out in the tournament as well. We've seen him on his Nidalee Kindred. That's been his signature picks in the back end of the OPL split here here regionally. But he's not really shown up that much on different picks, but that Kindred looked much more like he was at home again.
Yeah, 100% agree. Kindred was actually really stressed at the start of the split because he was like, Gragas is coming back. I can feel it. I'm going to become a Gragas one-trick again. Then he started playing Kindred, started playing Nidalee, had a good Rumble as well when Rumble was seen as a jungle pick. So that is something that he has adapted to, and his gameplay domestically had stepped up. I think that's why he's a little bit disappointed in himself, but that game, much better. Gets into the bottom lane early, picks up the kill, translates it around the map. So we should be proud of how that Kindred performance went.
Certainly shouldn't. The Chiefs should be proud as well. An excellent win for them there. Better late than never. We'll see if they can pick things back up as they'll play tomorrow. The Chiefs are done for the day, but the tournament certainly is not. Don't go too far away. We have the end of the IWCI coming up right after this.